Good morning. I'm George Kahn, and I'll be your host for today's Quiet Echo. I never expected to be comfortable behind a microphone. I fix engines. I talk to machines most of the day. Machines do not argue back. They either run or they do not, and my job is to find out why. But Teresa asked me to take the microphone today because something happened in American newspapers a few years ago, and nobody in Cedar Valley has talked about it yet. I think we should. Gannett is the largest newspaper chain in the country. More than 250 daily papers. USA Today, the Des Moines Register, the Detroit Free Press, dozens more. In 2022, a committee of Gannett's own editors sat down and surveyed their readers. What they found should have made every opinion writer in the country stop and think. Opinion columns were the least read content in their papers, and they were the #1 reason people canceled subscriptions. Let me say it differently. The writing designed to connect a newspaper to its community was the writing driving the community away. The editors put it in a memo. Readers do not want to be told how to think. Readers do not believe the paper has the expertise to tell them what to think. Readers perceive a biased agenda. The Des Moines Register cut its opinion pages to 2 days a week. Other papers dropped syndicated columns and editorial cartoons. An entire industry looked at the opinion page and decided it was broken. Now, I am not a writer, but I am a mechanic. When something breaks, I do not throw it out. I open it up. I find the part causing the failure, and then I fix the part. The opinion page did not break because people stopped having opinions. Everybody has opinions. Social media proved it. The opinion page broke because the writers forgot to ask 3 questions before they started. Why am I writing this? For whom? To what end? Those questions come from a book called The Power of Authors by Evan Swenson and Lois Swenson. The book is about purpose. It says every piece of writing, a column, an email, a letter, a social media post, needs to know why it exists before the first word goes down. And here is what I have seen happen when a columnist skips those questions. The piece opens with outrage. It assumes the reader already agrees. It builds no argument because it thinks the conclusion is obvious. It never acknowledges the other side because the other side is the enemy. It offers no solution because the point was never to solve anything. The point was to perform. The reader finishes. If the reader finishes. If the reader finishes. Either validated or insulted. Nobody changed. Nobody moved. 800 words and the world stayed right where it was. Now listen to what happens when the writer stops and answers those 3 questions first. Why am I writing this? Not because I am angry, because a 9-year-old is scrolling Instagram at midnight and nobody at the company asked why. Because a young man nobody had heard of showed up at a gate with a shotgun and is now dead. The why has to be specific. 1 sentence. If you cannot say it in 1 sentence, you are not ready. For whom? Not for everyone. For the mother checking her daughter's phone at the kitchen table. For the neighbor who watches the headlines and feels something is wrong but cannot name it. Name 1 reader. Write to the person, not the crowd. To what end? Not agreement. If the answer is agree with me, start over. The end is a question the reader carries into tomorrow. A conversation the reader starts instead of avoiding. Answer those 3 questions honestly, and the piece changes shape before a single word is written. Outrage becomes evidence. Assumptions become arguments. The enemy becomes a fellow citizen who sees it differently and deserves to know why. Performance becomes conversation. The Register's opinion editor said readers were tired of content aimed at stoking divisions rather than offering solutions. I believe him, but the answer is not fewer opinion pages. The answer is better purpose behind the ones we publish. Lars Olson, you all know Lars. He runs the hardware store. Lars told me he can tell in 30 seconds whether a customer came in to fix something or to complain. The fixers walk straight to the aisle. The complainers stand at the counter and talk. Both are welcome. Only one leaves with the problem solved. A good column walks straight to the aisle. I read the opinion page every morning with my coffee. I can tell you the exact moment a columnist loses me. It is not when I disagree. I will read someone I disagree with all day long if the argument is honest. I lose interest when the writer has no purpose beyond being right. When the piece could have been written by anyone, about anything, on any day. Cedar Valley writes differently, not because we are smarter, because we ask 3 questions first. Every time, why am I writing this? For whom? To To what end? Try it. The next email you send. The next post you put up. The next letter to the editor you draft at the kitchen table. 3 questions. If you cannot answer all 3 in one sentence each, you are not ready. And if you can, you will write something worth finishing. This is George Kahn. Tomorrow, Lars Olsen has the microphone. I will be back where I belong, talking to machines. This podcast is part of the fictional Cedar Valley news series. While the people in town are fictional, the national events they reflect on are real. Want to know the full story behind Cedar Valley? Teresa, Caleb, Dan, and the community you've come to know in these editorials first came together in quiet. Discover how a small town found its way from fear to fellowship, one quiet act of courage at a time. I'll put the link in the show notes. Available on Amazon.
You've been listening to the Cedar Valley News Podcast, where small-town voices meet the headlines shaping our world. From faith and family to front porches and fields. We'll be back with more stories connecting real lives to real events. Until next time, keep your porch light on, your faith strong, and your heart open.